right? So this is footage of what happened on August the 30th, 2024. So it's actually really recent. So a little bit after this footage here, undercover cops closed in on the suspect. He was then swiftly arrested after they got him in quite a tight corner. He didn't really have anywhere to go. And yes, that is his actual bike. They did take it off him. So let me tell you what happened here, because the manner of this theft is not what you think. This guy, for instance, if you didn't know, is called Sophie Haddada. He is known to the Met Police. But basically he just rides up to people when they're sightseeing around Oxford Circus, which is obviously very busy, and grabs their phones out of their hands. And what makes him even more audacious is that he works with these women. Now, we've seen this time and time again. I've done videos on this before. These women are either working for the guy or they are love interests, but they will distract you while the guy swoops in and does the actual theft. Now, he was obviously caught here and has been sent to prison. But what's interesting is that there is a bigger story to this arrest, which the Met Police actually released footage of as well. They didn't release this footage of him being arrested though. But the point is, they said, look, we want to talk about this guy. He's a persistent offender and all this sort of stuff. But more importantly, they said, look, we want to talk about how he was part of something bigger. Now, whether you believe this or not, the Met Police actually said that this individual, along with another individual who was currently wanted, they were part of a group, an organized crime group who are responsible for at least 260 thefts across London. Again, whether you believe that or not, the police obviously would say that they were part of a bigger group. Whether he was part of a bigger group, we don't know. But the other individual they're looking for is called Zachary Psyche. That is his surname right there. And the Met Police have released this picture of him. What they also said was that they believe that he is the person who is behind most of these phone thefts, but he doesn't necessarily do the thefts himself. What he does is he manages the phones. Basically, once they are taken to a central location where someone like Sophie Haddada will hand them over to him. He will check them and see whether they are locked or unlocked. And then depending on whether they are locked or unlocked, he will decide what to do with them. If they are locked, then he will send them to be unlocked and then shipped abroad. If they are already unlocked, then they will be shipped abroad ready to sell. And so they were selling these phones, get this, in Europe and in parts of North Africa. But one of the main destinations was Algeria, which obviously raises some questions about human trafficking and modern slavery. Because the way these people were able to get these phones into the hands of people in Algeria, it means that they had an extensive network. And the fact that they were willing to ship phones to Algeria shows that, you know, these people are part of something bigger. There is definitely human trafficking going on. The Met Police said that he processed at least 5,000 phones a week. 5,000 phones a week. Which means that this guy could make, wait for this, £1 million a month. £1 million a month from selling phones. Obviously, they're selling them for far cheaper abroad than they are here in the UK. I mean, if you can sell an iPhone 15 Pro Max here in the UK for between, £800 and £1,000, you can imagine what they would be selling them for in parts of Algeria. I saw a video the other day where they were selling iPhones, brand new iPhones there for $2,000, which is more than double the price. In fact, the same phone was being sold in Nigeria for $3,000. So you can imagine what they were doing with these phones. They were making a lot of money. What's your opinion? Do you think that they were making that much money? Was this guy really making £1 million a month? Let me know what you think down below. But they were making a lot of money, no doubt about it. Now, let me tell you why this is such a big deal, because this guy is a prolific offender. As I said, he's been involved in phone theft since 2020, but what's interesting is that last year, 2023, there was a huge spike in these sorts of thefts, and what the police believe is that these groups who are targeting tourists in places like Oxford Street, Piccadilly Circus, these busy areas, what they were doing is they were preying on the fact that there were a lot more tourists around, and they knew that, because of the World Cup in Qatar, there were a lot more tourists in London. And so they thought, right, let's target the tourists because they're an easy target. They're not going to know the city as well. They're going to have all their nice stuff out, and we can grab it off them. And that's exactly what they did. That's what this guy is alleged to have done. The only positive thing I can take from this is that at least they're recatching some of these guys now. But it's hard to catch them because they are part of something bigger. But the sad thing is that while we're talking about these phone thefts, There are other crimes happening in London at the moment that are more serious than this, and it seems like the police are not doing anything about them. What I'm talking about is the catalytic converter thefts. Now, I've made several videos about catalytic converter thefts, but recently it seems to have spiked again. There are multiple videos online of catalytic converters being stolen. In fact, just the other day, a friend's car outside their house in northeast London had its catalytic converter stolen. Luckily, they had insurance, but most people don't. Most people end up having to pay excess because they don't have full comprehensive. Now, I've spoken about this before, but what's interesting is that these guys who are stealing these catalytic converters, they're not getting caught. I've yet to see a single video where one of these catalytic converter thieves has been caught. In fact, the police seem to be doing nothing about it. Maybe they're focusing on more serious crimes, but these catalytic converter thefts are becoming more prevalent, and it seems like no one is doing anything about it. So my advice, if you do have a car, park it in a garage. You might have to pay a little bit extra to park it in a garage, but that is better than coming out and seeing that your catalytic converter has been stolen. But what's interesting is that while they are catching these phone thieves, which is great, they are not catching these catalytic converter thieves, which is also great. But it's hard to know what to feel about this, because on the one hand, you're pleased that they're catching these individuals who are stealing phones, but on the other hand, you're looking at these catalytic converter thefts, and you're thinking, why are they not being caught? Why is no one doing anything about it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But as always, stay safe out there.